Good morning, everyone. Just thought I'd bring you into this here. What I'm doing today is I'm working on I got a call yesterday to put some music to a little background for a corporate video for a Nigerian wheat company, which is cool by me, but I gotta get it out in a couple days. So what I decided to do was I'm gonna use some music that I've already written in a lot of cases that wasn't used for anything else, and kind of edit it into the video. So what I want to do is just show you. I happen to start working on this beat. For some reason I felt like doing an R&B track, so I started working on this beat the other day, just for fun, and so just so happens I'm going to be able to use it for this. So what I'm going to do is I just wanted to show a little bit to you right now, just so you could see it. And what I'm actually doing is cutting out sections that I'll be able to loop in the video, and then what I'm going to do is bring the video into a clean palette and start bringing all the pieces of the loops of the stuff that I've done and just start lining it up so you can see a little bit of that. It's not super intensive, and but I figured might be something cool to see some work on an actual project. Granted, I'm not going to be able to show you the video too much. It'll be a little thumbnail up here at some point, but so just thought I'd show you what I'm doing. Right now I'm just cutting out the I already made the loop with the intro, and I made a loop for, we got a chorus, it's a verse, and then with a chorus. And what I'm going to do now is just make another loop. So I'm going to remove my locators over, and my chorus starts here. What I love about this program, which I'm sure most sequencers have this, is you can set your locators and just bounce out anything that's inside the locators, so that you don't have to cut and paste and move and mute a lot of stuff. You can just have your whole track open and say, oh, I just want these 4 bars, just pop it right out. So I set my line up here surrounding my chorus. I'll just play it to make sure. Alright. And now let's just go up to bounce. And I've already got my folder set up. You can see here I've got my other 2 loops that I made. I'm just going to name this one outro. So I'll be able to loop that one and fade it out. So that's my outro loop. Alright, so you get a little bit of that. Now okay, so I've opened up this track I called Beat Down 2. It's called Beat Down 2. The original track was for a fight scene in the movie Wamba, but I still have the rights to it, so I'm using it. And what I've done is added some voice and some strings here. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make a thread. What I mean by a thread is I'm going to make one of just the percussion, a bounce of that, and then I'll make a bounce of this, and then I can layer them on top of each other in the next track, so that way I don't have to make, it's just 2 different ways of making a loop. So I'm going to have loops that go this way, that have everything in there, so I have like verse, chorus, and then this one will be like the same length, except one will have just the drums and the other one will have just the strings, so that way I can play the same loop, drums or strings, and then drums and strings together. So this stuff wasn't originally in the first part. Plus, it matches, it's the same patch and phrase that I used in the other part that I'm going to pull in from the trailer. That way I can get a little bit of continuity, but this is more of an African tribal feel. So I'm just going to make my loop now. Okay, that's like the intro part of it, that's cool. That's good, that works. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I might as well. Let me just double check this, because I don't know if I want to have this stuff playing or not. It's just the string. This is a low string, but you can barely hear it, so let's take this off for now. I'm going to leave it just because it gives a little bit of beef, and then it changes up a little bit here just to give it a little this one's out. Just going to keep it the same. It's background music. It's so low you're not going to really hear it. But what I'm going to do now is, so I'm going to make my 2 loops, okay? That way they're in the same spot. I'll turn my locators on, got it spaced out where I need it to be. And the reason why I'm doing it this way, I'm making the loops that I'm going to edit onto 1 or 2 tracks, is because if I brought each one of these, I could bring each one of these files into a new file, but then I'd have to have these 22 tracks just for this one. I'd have to have the 22 tracks for the other one, the 30 tracks for the other one. I'd have 70 tracks for each little section, and it'd be bouncing around. The music's already completed. It's just a matter of putting it in and kind of cross-fading it together at the sections. So that's why I think this is a little bit better. Plus, it gives a little bit more freedom. I'm going to make a track, and then I'm also going to send all the threads to the editor. That way, if he doesn't really quite like where I lined it up, he can move the threads around where he needs to be. So he'll have a final track, but he's going to have everything in all the separate parts. That way, if he wants to move them around, he can put them and basically do exactly what I'm doing. He just, decided to do this one. So let me bounce this one out. This is just going to be percussions. Let me mute. M mutes. Highlight a region of mutes and logic. And we're going to bounce. And I just want to make sure it's bouncing to the right thing. Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be beat down. And I'm using beat down because that way I know what it is. Beat down, drums. Oh, shoot. Let me cancel. How do I cancel? Control period. Because I don't know if I bounce it as an MP3 or an AIF. Okay, it was an AIF, so okay. I forget to check simple things sometimes. Hazelnut. It's good coffee. Listen, Jules, I don't need you to tell me how good my coffee is, alright? I buy it. Bonnie buys shit. Little Pulp Fiction. I love that crap. I talk to myself a lot while I'm bouncing because, as you can see, it takes some time sometimes. I might edit all this out anyway, so you might not even hear me talking gibberish. Alright. Cool. Wait a minute, something sounds funny. First of all, I'm not going to be using that by itself. So I've got the straight drums by itself, and I'm going to make one with the drums and this in there because this will never play without that playing. But one of these sounds like hic, hic. It's like a hiccup. It's not that one. But you get that hey. There's 2 different African choruses. See what happens if I... Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring our... I was thinking about just bringing the volume down. I'm going to bring the velocity down and see if it makes it a little bit better. See, that sounds better. Oh, that's just so much better. So instead of what I'll do here, they're all the same. I'm just gonna do the old control. If you hold, what button is this? Option. You can drag a region and it makes a copy, so the original stays there. Whereas if I didn't hold Option and I grabbed it, it would just move it and it would stay wherever it is. It's a great feature. I like it. So this should be better now.